Hi, YouTube. I wanted to tell you a story. I don't know if I should tell you the name of the place. Well, I guess the place is called Core Civic. There's probably plenty of Core Civics out there, different companies, different names, different things, different sectors. The one I experienced was, uh, got, for a first experience with them was a simple trespassing lockup. I was at a bench for a fast food joint after hours. Um, the city I was in transferred me there, different county, and the assistant warden at Core Civic said they contract with 13 entities to carry people. I found out later in one, I got a tablet and I was writing the guards like what is this place? What am I doing here? And they were saying it's some kind of military lockup on that, what they call pod. Uh, but I experienced some things there, people. I briefly mentioned in the previous video. There'll probably be other videos in the future about it. Uh, for example, one time I was in solitary confinement and they came up with this big tank. Uh, some people say when they say they a lot, they say, who are they? Or, what's going on? Boop, 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 boop. But whatever, a guard. Okay. I was trying to get me to put my mouth on this tank and like take a but he wound up turning it on and letting it. I could feel it too. It was very interesting. Uh, I've done all kinds of chemicals in my life on accident and on purpose, and they kind of affect me differently than what the general uh, what it says it could do. Effect of the chemical, or it even varies throughout time. Like I don't know. I just shouldn't be doing too many chemicals, except what's in healthy food. So. Uh, They and not isolated healthy food, just healthy food. Anyways, I'm Sarkis and here's the story. So I was later on in another holding place in solitary confinement, and they had some other kind of sprays, but they would spray them, and I'd like always just back off and get in my thing. Well, there was someone talking through a vent. I don't know why I was banging my head on the door. I do that a lot of kick and stuff. The doors, Uh, I'm not a violent person. The door didn't feel anything. But they said they're coming to kill you. Go on the top bunk and hide, or something like that. And I did. And before too long, one of the guards I trusted came to the door and was like, Sarkis, come here. You got to put these cuffs on. And I still look back and I think if I would put them on, would it have been less tumultuous of an experience, or would it have been worse? I don't know. Uh, that person was trying to help me. I know that, but they came in riot gear, pads, and everything. They took me from the top. Oh, before that, they sprayed something in there, talking about the spray, and it was burning my eyes out. And I thought to spit into the blanket I had, and then I was breathing through it as if there was a lot of water on there, because some of it was getting tightening up my chest. But they threw me from the top bunk down onto my head, and they put cuffs on me and chains on my ankles, and they dragged me out, and they put me in a wheelchair, and they were pushing me, and they have like these riot gear shields, but the shield is reversed, and there's a button, and I have other stories about what they've done with those, but they electrocute you. So the chains were lifting, and I was like, shh. And then they put me in like I don't want to say they had acid showers, but that's a whole other story. With all hope and justice to such peoples. But they were putting the water on me, and they brought me back in the cell, and they dropped me on my head, and there was a blanket, a folded blanket, and I got on my knee, but I landed on my knees and aimed for it, and then they drag you up and across. They switch the cuffs to the back, and then they make you go to the gate. They call it, that's the door, and there's a sliding thing where they put the food through, but they also make you stick your hands and for cuffs on and off, and they did that. And but while I was still in cuffs, they cut off my I don't know jail talk, so I don't know what they're called, duds, clothes. Uh, that's probably the reason why I kept winding up solitary confinement in the hole because I just don't speak the lingo. Excuse me. Sorry, you know. But yeah. Uh, so then I was in there for a little bit, and that was like the medical bay because the bed was different. Everything there was no mat or anything like that. It was filthy too, and I had my birthday and Christmas, and I think New Year's in there. They came to tell me happy birthday and stuff. They might have had a cake for me or something. There were some nice people. They bring me like chocolates and stuff, and it's in the psychiatry unit. And I just stayed in bed. I was just so tired, you know, and scared and stuff. But whatever, you know. And then later that night of my birthday, there was the guard. They had a watch on me at that point. Went and got something, and it looked like some kind of little cake, but it was weird. And I was like, "What is it?" He's like, "Eggs, flour, and stuff." And then I went down and meditated. And I came up and it was gone. He goes, "Where'd it go?" He said, "I ate it." So I didn't know if they had it for me earlier, and it felt like because guards have certain etiquettes and rules too. You know, like you dish the psych, but accepting your cake, I'm gonna eat your cake in front of you. I don't know. It's a wild mess. You know. But I kept feeling like I had to flush the toilets a lot. You know, that's part of the reason why the other guy was so mad. One of the guards before just that point, I was in the one previous that I mentioned where I got thrown on my head, but I was in one previous to that where he threatened. He said, if you don't come with me, because they wanted me to move my cell, because I was on the second floor, I flooded the toilet, and it was I stuffed my bag and blanket and stuff in there. I kept flushing it, and it kept filling up, and it went out from the little gap under the gate or the door and down the stairs. So he's like, "Come with me," and I said, and I didn't want to come with him from there. He said, I'm gonna get about three, four, five guys to throw you on your head." And that's what wound up happening. But I kept flooding that next cell. But my food, I no longer got a tray. I get like little styrofoam things, but I'd break those up and stick them in the toilet. And I found, and it's gonna sound gross, but then it got so easy just to fit my foot right enough in there, and I could keep flushing it and flooding it. And there were times where I put my blanket under the gate, so I had like 2 feet of water, toilet water, I guess, you know. But in my cell, my personal cell, um, it was kind of cool, you know. But like I said, the drinking water is attached to that same toilet, anyways. It's pretty unsanitary. Like it's made out of steel, and they're all attached. It's a one piece unit. Yeah. So another funny story from there is well, funny. What is funny, you know? It's kind of funny. I try to make the best of it, you know. I didn't have some serious charge or really, you know, but when you think about it, you know, in society, people commit crimes and do heinous acts against other human beings and such, against themselves, and that could be good treatment for some people. You know, it's not necessarily rehabilitation because you know, as you can see, I'm kind of jolted and stuff, and you know, some people say you get trauma from things like that and stuff. Uh, but it's all in how you handle it. You know, the way I see it is, it was just another thing I experienced in this life. You know, I don't. My demeanor's not exactly the same as it was, but you know, and I'll tell the story of my finger another time. But my finger's not the same as it was either. You know, my dominant hand. You know, my first finger. So that's just part of life. You know, and it's not necessarily a funny thing, but it's funny as part of the comprehensive overall commission of it. I'm gonna have to look up the word commission and see if I use it right in that sense. But every word has a few definitions, anyways. You get the word. Yeah. So you know, I'm not gonna point the finger. I'm not gonna stand on a molehill or boss you around, but just appreciate. Always appreciate. That's what I do. I don't know. Anyways, that's all, folks.